Welcome, this is Najma Minhas with Global Village Space. Today I'm joined with DG ISPR General Babar Iftikhar. General Saab, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I'll just take this off. I'd like to start off by saying you and the Foreign Minister did an excellent job in presenting a detailed dossier with solid facts on Indian sponsorship of terrorism in Pakistan. What has the response been so far from the international community?
Well, let me start from the 5th of August 2019. Whatever actions the Indian government took, the revocation of Article 370, the special status of Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Ever since then, India has received a lot of negative press, and the issue has been very well supported by the Pakistan government, the way it has been taken up on different international forums. This was an ongoing thing. They were already receiving a lot of flack on this thing. But when this dossier came out, this was frankly a vindication of what Pakistan had been saying for so long. It gave all the proofs, evidence of Indian government, India as a state sponsoring terrorism inside Pakistan. And it has been taken very seriously by the international community. The world has taken note of it. The world is talking about it. And despite India's best efforts, there's been a lot of objective analysis of what's being said. I think the objectivity of the debate around this dossier, the contents of this dossier at the international level is a major plus, and we are going to take it forward from here.
What are your next steps?
Well, after the presentation of the dossier, the Foreign Office presented it to the P5. It has been presented to the United Nations Secretary General. And then now you've seen the latest statement from the OIC forum. The Foreign Minister attended that, and it's been a very, very strongly worded statement by the OIC about what's happening in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Here on, we are going to take it to every possible forum, and a lot of effort is being put into this. And it's not just a one-off thing. There has been a series of actions that has been taken after that.
So one of the things I found most shocking in this dossier was the anti-CPEC cell, which is directly reporting to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Yes.
It was given an initial outlay, according to the report, of $500 million, and has raised over 700 militiamen to disrupt the CPEC corridor. Now, what is the nature of the threat that you're facing here, and how will you ensure the security of the corridor?
Well, Indians see CPEC as a game changer for the region, and it is a game changer for the region. It's offering connectivity to the whole region, and with that, Pakistan becomes a connectivity hub for this whole region. And I think this is a game changer in the sense that this project has the ability, the potential to bring prosperity to this whole region by connecting everyone. It's not just a north-south thing. So and for Pakistan, it's basically an economic project. And that's what the project's name also says, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. So the kind of threat that it is facing from the Indians is obviously they've started with the security threats that we are facing. There's a lot of terrorist activity going on around it, and they've also started bringing in some very strange arguments about where it starts from and where it ends, and how Indians are not very comfortable with the project passing through certain territories in Pakistan. So the security threat around the project and different stages of the project, it has actually been increasing with the passage of time. Somewhere Indians decided that there is a timeline beyond which this project becomes irreversible.
Okay.
And they feel that the progress of this project must be retarded as much as possible so that it doesn't cross that timeline, and it can be somehow reversed.
You're saying that Indians fear this project as a game changer, and that it'll bring prosperity to the region. So that I can clearly understand this. Are you saying that Indians are against the prosperity of the region? Is that why they're destroying CPEC?
Because if they're not willing to let this project progress, then that's what they're trying to do over here.
The dossier also mentions that there are terrorist camps in Afghanistan. Have you had conversations with the Afghan leadership over this?
We keep having these conversations with the Afghan leadership. There's a proper mechanism about it, and frankly, we've always acknowledged that the Afghan government has capacity issues. Because of that, we've never really blamed the Afghan government for what's happening from the Afghan soil. So we keep sharing this information with them, and it's a regular thing. And similarly, the kind of information that we've revealed in this dossier, that has also been shared at the appropriate levels. So and connected to this, since this particular zone is also being used to target the CPEC. What we have done to keep this project secure, we've raised 2 divisions for the security of this project. And other than that, we have about 8 to 9 regular regiments also protecting this, the corridor, the project at various locations from wherever it is passing through. And in addition to that, there are paramilitary troops which are also deployed. So we have taken every possible measure to keep this project secure. And our Chinese partners are also very satisfied with the kind of security measures that we have taken. And what they are really targeting is the international image of Pakistan.
Okay.
When they try and target CPEC, there have been the terrorists who are being used to target this project are continuously targeting the Chinese manpower involved. They try to do that. They are trying to target the local labor also who are working for this project. So there are a lot of dimensions to the kind of security threat that this project gains. But alhamdulillah, the kind of measures that we have taken, they've not even been able to retard the progress of this project. They've not been able to dent it, and it's progressing more every day.
Okay, I'd like to bring you to the LOC right now. We're seeing high levels of LOC violations by India, also including use of heavy military equipment, which we've never seen happening there before. Diplomats are talking about a new grand design. What are your thoughts?
Well, the design here, to put it simply, is to externalize what's happening inside India. Now, I won't go to what's happening on mainland. The whole world knows about that. Well, as far as Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, India has been continuously trying to tag this indigenous freedom struggle with terrorism, and these and whatever measures they are trying to take over there, the kind of increase in intensity and lethality of the ceasefire violations, as you see nowadays. Well, it all started from 2014, and I think 2019 and 2020, these 2 years have seen the maximum number of ceasefire violations, and I believe maximum number of casualties also. What they're trying to do here is that, as I said, they're trying to connect this freedom struggle with terrorism, and terrorism they're trying to connect with infiltration, so-called infiltration from Pakistan. We've been taking diplomats, media to the line of control where they've seen it for themselves. There is no way that any kind of infiltration can take place along the line of control, because the kind of counter-infiltration grid that they have, because of the kind of deployment that they have along the line of control. You need to understand, I mean, there are about 9 lakh Indian soldiers inside Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and look at the kind of deployment that they have on the line of control. So the complete Pakistan army is about 6 lakh. So 9 lakh people in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir, soldiers. Local political leadership of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir have also said that if everything is hunky-dory, why do we have, why is it the most militarized region in the world?
Right.
So what they're trying to achieve from these ceasefire violations is that they are trying to divert the attention of the world towards Pakistan. And they are trying to claim that whatever is happening inside Indian occupied, illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is because of the infiltration, and it's because of the terrorists coming from this side of the border, whereas it's absolutely false. And we've said a number of times, I mean, we have a United Nations observers, military observers group in India and Pakistan. They're always available on Pakistan side. They're going everywhere. They're visiting all the places. The last time I took a group of ambassadors to the line of control, and I informed them that this particular place where they were on that particular day, it was pointed out by none other than the Indian Army's military chief, that it's supposed to be a launch pad where maybe 250 odd individuals are waiting to infiltrate inside India. So it's absolutely propaganda, and the only reason that they are doing it is, one, to externalize their internal issues. Second, they want to, I mean, they understand whether they fire on us or whether we fire back, it's the Kashmiris who are being hurt on both sides. So it is also an exercise in trying to draw a wedge between the Pakistani army and the population living along the line of control.
Okay, so there's been an increase in violations along the LOC, as we've just discussed, and we're seeing a rise and surge in terrorist activities here in Pakistan as well. You've just recently given this complete dossier on Indian hands in terrorism in Pakistan. Yet, when Nagrota incident happened, the Indian government and the Indian media still played up that Pakistan must be responsible somehow. What is the pattern that you see emerging?
Well, the pattern is, we've seen this happening before. We've seen this happening before. It's a regular pattern with India. I mean, there's nothing new emerging here. They are always looking for some kind of an excuse, right, to raise the temperatures. False flag operations are a norm with them, and they keep doing that all the time. And usually when they...
Are you suggesting the Nagrota incident was a false flag incident?
What is there? What have they found out? Have they shared anything with the rest of the world? No. I mean, this is what I'm trying to say. If whatever is happening inside Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, they are, frankly, I think they're in a state of denial. And that is causing them the kind of trouble that there is. It is an indigenous freedom struggle. It is totally indigenous. It's not possible to sustain a freedom struggle for more than 70 years. It's not humanly possible for that to happen. And that is exactly what is happening. So Pakistan, on the other side, I mean, when the present government came in,
Your Prime Minister offered one step forward,
he's on record
2 steps forwards,
of having said that you move one step and I'll take two. So we've always been trying to, normalize. We need to normalize the situation over here in the region, and everybody understands what is the potential of India and Pakistan. So the pattern here is, I mean, whenever there is a major event coming up in the world, anywhere else, something happens, something that can connect Pakistan to terrorism.
It was interesting that you mentioned Indian propaganda as well. Social media that we're seeing right now, there's a massive increase in fake news, misinformation, disinformation about Pakistan, about the Pakistani army and so on. Recently we saw the hashtag trending in Twitter, civil war in Karachi. Now you're the head of Pakistan Army's Information Services Wing. How do you intend to counter this? Can you do anything to counter this?
Well, it's a major challenge, especially what's happening on the social media. And again, the best way to handle this is transparency. The best way to handle this is not leaving any information voids. The best way to handle this is passing on credible information. And that's exactly what we are trying to do here. And again, even on social media, when we try and dig out where is it coming from, it's most of the accounts are Indian accounts. Only recently they've been, I think they've unearthed a major effort by the Indians in the form of EU disinformation lab, and the way they've been trying to prop up different issues across the world. So unfortunately, it's a major onslaught, and it's a major part of the 5th generation warfare. In case of Pakistan, I think Pakistan is being subjected to this 5th generation warfare and hybrid applications in a massive way, and we are aware of that.
Can you give any incidences? Can you share anything?
About
on the 5th generation, I mean, some instances maybe that you've
identified. Just look at this, when we talk of 5th generation warfare, my understanding is that you use all elements of national power within a particular state to concentrate on maybe 2 or 3 major spheres. In our case, probably it's our economy is being targeted, and the other part is the information domain. An information domain, pick out one little incident which has anything to do with Pakistan and specifically to do with Pakistan Army, and look how it gets viral. I mean, there've been several hashtags in the last 6 months that were even reported. I mean, very trivial news which were even reported by international news organizations, and they were pushed vehemently by the Indian accounts. The kind of links that you find on social media of some negative press going for Pakistan, 90% of that is coming from Indian websites. So there are so many examples. Like you just said, civil war in Karachi. I mean, what happened? There was nothing on ground. And then, and I think by doing this, Indian media has also lost its credibility to quite an extent. And the whole world is recognizing that.
When we're looking at the 5th generation warfare, in which particular domain has India been targeting Pakistan?
Well, to put it simply, I would say in the diplomatic domain, in the information domain, and of course the military engagements that they are doing, what's happening on the line of control, in economy, in the economic domain, financially, and in lawfare. So these are different domains that they are targeting Pakistan in. And you can see this practically unfolding everywhere. May it be their lobbying before we go into FATF plenaries, may it be they're trying to use their influence at the United Nations Forum or different other forums in the world. It's everywhere, and basically what they're trying to do is they target Pakistan from different directions to slow down the kind of progress, the kind of trajectory that Pakistan has for the future.
Okay, so I'd like to take you to a slightly different field. The United States and India are developing a close strategic relationship, especially in the Indo-Pacific. Recently, they signed the Becca deal. Limoa has been signed before that. Along with this, Indian military spending is at all-time highs. Currently, they're spending $71 billion. India is the world's third largest military, has the world's third largest military expenditure after US and China. What kind of threat perception does this create for you, and how do you intend to tackle it?
Well, the threat perception in our case is very clear. India is aiming at equipping herself with high-tech material, and that's what these agreements are offering. Whether it's weapon systems, whether it's classified information. So I believe if we talk of the region, whenever conventional balance is disturbed, the balance of power as we call it, it leads to other avenues. So in our case, as far as we are concerned, I think the differential of defense spending between India and Pakistan is almost 1 to 9. But we are absolutely prepared for what we have in front of us, and we are aware of what they are acquiring, and what we want to, what we keep telling the international community and our friends in the rest of the world is that international community has to understand that any major disturbance in the balance of power in South Asia will be a major disaster for not only for the region but also for the rest of the world. So this balance of power must be maintained at every level, and the more it is disturbed, the more it gets lopsided, the more dangerous it becomes.
I'd like to take you to the western border now. Pakistan Army has been doing clearing operations there for the past decade. You've been securing the borders. How far are these initiatives, and will they actually give us long-term security?
Yes, I think we've come a long way on that account. As far as the western border is concerned, our aim has been to ensure better management of this border. So we've, after we were through with the operations that we were doing, right now there is not a single inch of our land along the western border which is not being manned by our soldiers. So then we started off with the fencing, because it's a very porous border and it was a major undertaking. But alhamdulillah, right now we've fenced about 83% of the Pakistan-Afghan border. So by the end of this month, inshallah, we would have completed that. We are hoping
completed the Afghan-Pakistan border.
Pakistan-Afghanistan part of the border that falls both in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan.
Are you going to be going down towards Iran? Have you started?
Yes, as far as Pakistan-Iran border is concerned, 30% of it has been fenced so far, and I believe by December 2021 we will complete that also. Now there are just a few places in between which are snow-clad most of the time, so and the terrain over there is it's really difficult. Now those areas will be manned in another way, but we are trying to fence 100% of our west.
And is this going to give us the security that we're looking for?
Absolutely. It's going to give us security. It's going to stop the smuggling of goods and narcotics, and it's a major dividend. It's a major dividend that we're going to get out of this thing. Then the border terminals that we are making over there, 2 of the border terminals will be absolutely international standard in Chaman and Torkham. Right now 5 are functioning. So the passage on both sides, it's going to be absolutely regularized, formalized, and this is going to be a major breakthrough for us after we've fenced the whole border. It's already paying the dividends. It's already showing.
Have you done any calculations as to maybe how much terrorism has been reduced by because of the fact that you've bordered this fence?
I think I won't go into the percentage of it, but the number of incidents has decreased massively. The number of casualties have decreased. Yes, of late we've seen some surge in some activities along the border regions, but it has other connections, as I revealed in the dossier that we gave. There's been a massive effort by the Indian side to kind of create some kind of disturbance inside Pakistan, especially in the border regions. Again, they're also trying to target the fencing over here. The way we are trying to fence the border. We keep sharing whatever little incidents happen along the border, Pak-Afghan border, in our frequent press releases. So it's been, I think it's brought down the incidents to a major extent. And one thing that I would like to add about border management, and it actually shows how important it is for the present civil military leadership of Pakistan. A new border management division has been recently raised. It was announced by the Prime Minister. It will be functioning under the Ministry of Interior, and it will be centrally articulating and managing all the points of entry, whether from sea, airports, or the land borders.
Okay.
It will be articulating and managing all these points of entry centrally with different agencies working under it. So the point of reiterating this is that border management is key to securing Pakistan, better border management, and that is exactly what we are going for.
So what do you see as the future of Afghan peace process and Pakistan's role in this?
As far as Pakistan's role in Afghan peace process is concerned, it's that of a facilitator. Pakistan has done everything that it can to facilitate the peace process. Well, its future, we're very optimistic about that. As far as what happens next has to be decided by the Afghans, nobody else but the Afghans, and that's what our endeavor is. We have tried to facilitate this to every extent that we could, and everybody has acknowledged that. The Afghan government, the US government, they've all acknowledged that Pakistan has played the most positive role in trying to bring them on the table, trying to facilitate the talks, and to take this peace process to a logical conclusion. So that's our role in it, and that's what we'll continue doing.
So military to military engagement exists in every country. It's an important part of diplomacy, defense diplomacy. It helps to build regional partnerships and bilateral relationships and so on. How extensively have you used this and your current leadership? Have you extensively been using this part of diplomacy?
Yes, I think the Chief of Army Staff, General Bajwa's vision as far as the military diplomacy goes is, and it has been, we need peace within and we need peace around us. And Pakistan's military leadership has reached out to the military leadership of countries in the region and beyond. And it has really been received very positively, and we've had number of advantages from this thing. Our military engagements with the Chinese, our military engagements with the Gulf region, our military engagements with the United States, Russia. it's all been, I think we've gone to, we've explored new venues on this account, and it has really helped bring Pakistan's international image to a new level. So the outreach, as whether it's for training, whether it's for different other exchanges at the strategic level, and whether it's for defense equipment, buying and selling, I think it's in all the avenues. It's been very positively received, and it's brought us a lot of dividends on that account.
Okay, so I'd like to ask you, my final question is, Pakistan's now going through the second wave of corona. We've seen a very strong institution, NCOC, being created during this period, which has done a fantastic job, being applauded throughout the world on how it's managed this in Pakistan. What has been the Pakistan Army's role in supporting it?
Right from the day one, Pakistan Army has been part of every effort that has been undertaken by the government, by the people of Pakistan to control this. You've talked of NCOC. I'm sure you may even have visited the place. It's being manned by the military and their civil counterparts. When this setup came, it was when we came up with the setup. The idea was to better articulate the resources. So it worked really well. We started with deployment of Pakistan Army soldiers across Pakistan, all across, when we were trying to kind of exercise some smart lockdowns. The information technology part has also been supplemented by the the capability that the Army has. So at every level, may it be information technology, may it be implementation and execution of different instructions being given by the government, Pakistan Army has been in the thick and thin of all these things.
So what has been Pakistan Army's role during the second wave of COVID?
As far as the second wave is concerned, I believe ever since we started fighting this pandemic, there's been a lot of capacity building, and we've enhanced our ability. We've been able to enhance our ability to fight this in a better way. So the second wave, as it has come in, we should be tackling it well. And as we go through it, I must acknowledge the role of the frontline workers who have fought through this and who are again on the front lines. And I would also like to make a special mention of how the media has helped in educating the masses about what this pandemic is all about, and how to keep yourselves safe in these circumstances. I think ISPR, being the information arm of the NCOC, I think what we've seen media, the way they've contributed, I believe the kind of campaigns that we've been able to run on different channels during this pandemic, it goes in billions of rupees, and it's been free of cost. So it's been a very, very positive role. But I would also like to emphasize here that we need to be extremely careful in this second wave, and we need to help each other, and we need to be more careful than we were before, and only then we will be able to come out of it intact, inshallah.
General Iftikhar, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.